Hey, you here, you here. Thank you for coming, my darling. I can always depend on you. All right. Now, I'm gonna take some twists. Well, I tried to figure it out best as I could so that you wouldn't have a whole lot of twists and turns. But this story comes out of Shreveport, Louisiana. Shout out to Larry. Larry, I think he got his page now, Larry the Real Deal. Shout out to him. He sent that to me in my email as well as anybody else. If I have any stories that you want me to cover, send it to my email and I will get them covered. Okay. A Shreveport man suspected in a triple homicide was fatally shot by officers in Windsor. That would be this brother right here. Barry Rigsby, 36, was killed approximately 2:30 p.m. Thursday at Wisner Apartment, according to Franklin Parish Sheriff Kevin Cobb. Rigsby was wanted for the murders of his wife, Adriana Perry Rigsby, her brother, Joshua Perry, 18, and her 12-year-old son. A relative said all four were living in the home and the juvenile was his stepson. Shortly before noon, Reese's vehicle was found in a field on the south side of Windsor. Several other departments were involved in finding Rigsby, including Wisner's Police Department, Louisiana State Police, and U.S. Marshals. Okay, give me 1 second. I want you to listen to a quick
It's time to let Barksdale Federal
article.
Credit Union get you in a new ride. Motion.
This is KTBS 3 breaking news.
Reports of a woman who had concerns about her son. The woman had arrived at the residence and found the back door open. She entered the residence and found a male, a female, and a child deceased inside of that home.
Happening right now, our breaking news of the morning as we keep you updated. Right now, Shreveport police are actively looking for the person responsible for this crime. Now, this is what we know. A woman concerned about some relatives went to their home on West 82nd Street and found 3 people had been shot and killed. This was just before 2 a.m. this morning. Now, one of those killed, reportedly a 12-year-old. And we're told the suspect has a history of violence and is right now driving a burgundy Dodge Journey. If you see the car, you're urged to call police. That is a live look at the scene. You can see the Shreveport police still on the scene and the crime scene tape still up. So we're going to keep you updated as we have since the start of First News on this developing situation.
KTBS 3 breaking news.
If you see the vehicle, do not approach it. He's considered armed and dangerous. And just notify your local law enforcement, or if you have any other information here in Shreveport, just call Crime Stoppers.
The latest now on our breaking news of the morning. Right now, Shreveport police are actively looking for the person responsible for a shooting people overnight. Now, this is what we know.
Never
A woman was
approach a
concerned about
killer.
the relatives. This home on West 82nd Street, Shreveport, and found 3 people have been shot and killed. This was just for 2 a.m. this morning. One of those reportedly killed was a 12-year-old. The suspect was a history of violence in Dodge Journey. Again, as we just heard there from Shreveport police, if you see that car, do not approach the suspect, but you are urged to call police immediately. We're going to continue to stay on top of this story as we have all morning long.
Live. HOMICIDE breaking news.
Okay. Shreveport law enforcement officers across Louisiana was searching for the suspect wanted in a triple homicide Thursday morning in Shreveport's Cedar Grove neighborhood. Police say Barry Rigsby, 36, is wanted on 3 counts of second-degree murder. His bond was set at $3 million. Second-degree murder? I'm sure it'll be bumped up. Shortly before noon, Rigsby's vehicle was found in Franklin Parish, southeast of Monroe, but he was not in the vehicle. A relative identified the victim to be KTBS as Adriana Perry Rigsby, 29, which was his wife of the suspect, her son, that was not his, that was her son, and her brother. Oh, her son was 12. His name was Xavier Perry. And her brother, Joshua Perry, who was 18, who lived in the home. Xavier was a student at the Ridgewood Middle School, and Joshua attended Booker T. Washington High School. The relatives said Barry Rico Rigsby, Rico, Lord, was still living in the home. Xavier was his stepson. Police say a woman went to the home in the 400 block of the West 82nd Street just before 2 a.m. to check on the residents and found the body. Investigators said the shooting was the result of a domestic dispute. Now, in another article that I read, it did state that this lady was his mother that went there because he had sent her some disturbing texts. Barry Rigsby and Adriana were scheduled to appear separately in Caddo District Court Monday for a hearing on pending charges. She is charged with possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, and he with marijuana possession. Let me read it again. She is charged with possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. Okay, so she was a felon. And he with marijuana possession. But that's not all that's on Barry's record. His latest arrest was filed January 7th for possession of marijuana. His first criminal offense entered in Caddo County record was in January 2019 for obstruction of justice and possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. Now, and for this stuff that he did at that time, he got 2 years probation, not even any jail time. A motion filed in January joined his case with Adriana Rigsby, who is identified in court records as Adrian Perry or Adriana Perry. The motion did not explain why their cases were joined, but a separate court filing provided information about the arrest of she and Barry Rigsby. According to the court documents, Barry Rigsby said he and Adriana and a minor child identified by the officer as their 9-year-old son, Xavier, Okay, so Xavier was a 9 at that time because he's 12 now. Okay. Were riding bikes on 67th Street in Shreveport when Shreveport police officer Rodney Kitten pursued them, rammed his bike, then punched and kicked him. Barry Rigsby said the firearm was found yards away from him. He accused the officer of searching him without probable cause. The officer, however, in this report said Barry Rigsby refused commands to stop and even after wrecking his bike, tried to run away. So guilty of something. Keaton said as Barry Rigsby was resisting being handcuffed, he managed to grab a small caliber weapon from his clothing and threw it several feet away. He was also tased. See, something was wrong. He didn't follow command. Keaton said Adriana Rigsby picked up one of the bikes and threw it at him, hitting him on the right side. Her actions were recorded by civilians and posted to Facebook. Okay, so now I'm getting the feeling that she was just as much a criminal as he was. She pleaded guilty on September 15th to aggravated battery and was sentenced to pay $5,000 in court costs. Meanwhile, Adriana Rigsby had an arrest for a home invasion in 2020 that was dismissed 2 months ago, but the gun possession charge was pending. She is convicted. She is a convicted felon, having been convicted in, I guess that's the Bean Parish in February 2013 for aggravated second degree burglary. So both of them both have been charged with entering somebody's home unlawfully. Barry Rigsby was charged in the same home invasion, but ended up pleading guilty in May 2020 in an unauthorized entry of an inhabited dwelling. He was given a 3-year sentence and placed on probation. Barry Rigsby was back in Caddo District Court on October 15th for execution of the sentence, but it was deferred until January 7th. Then on October 19th, the judge signed an arrest warrant for violation of a court record. The warrant indicates Barry Rigsby left the state in August without permission of his probation officer. I mean, really, they were doing the most. They were doing the most. He pleaded guilty May 17th to resisting an officer in connection with the arrest by Officer Kenton. He was sentenced to pay $500 and court costs. Execution of the sentence, too, was delayed until January 7th. Barry Rigsby rap sheet included with documents filed in the cases reflects arrests from age 17 to 20, all of which happened in Oregon. Arrests included assault, drug possession, and escape. He was convicted of second degree assault in 2005 and sentenced to 3 months shy of 6 years in prison. That conviction is what made it illegal for him to carry a firearm. I wonder was that assault charge against his wife. His record picks up again in 2013 in Okaloosa with the Larry straightened me on that how to pronounce that. With arrest for possession of a firearm by a convicted felon and illegally carrying of a firearm. He was convicted in February 2016 of attempted possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, given a sentence of 7.5 years sentence, and placed on probation for 3 years. Police are asking anyone with any information on Rigsby's whereabouts to contact the Shreveport Police Department. There's no need to even read that part, because let me tell you, let me read something for you. Uh, he went on and did his due diligence by taking his own life. He kind of got barricaded in by the cops. He went ahead and committed suicide. Let's see here. So it looks like he had a history of criminal charges. I don't know if she joined him, because you had those bout it women. I'm down with my man kind of situation. I don't know if that was it or what it was, but she racked up some charges herself. But they later on cornered him in, and he had. That's what I want to say the right thing. Here we go. The suspect in the triple homicide, 36-year-old Barry Rigsby, was killed in an exchange of gunfire with law enforcement officials Thursday afternoon after 4 hours into a standoff after he barricaded himself in an assisted living center in Wisner, according to Louisiana State Police Trooper F. Wait, he went into an assisted living place and barricaded himself in there all that time. Wow. His vehicle had been found in a wooded area near Wisner earlier in the day, covered with debris as if it had in fact had been made to hide it. According to SPD, promoting a search of the area that led to his discovery and the standoff. A concerned resident gave a tip to officers about seeing someone who matched the description of Rigsby entering the apartment complex. Franklin Parish officers arrived at the scene and began executing of course, setting up for the standoff. And Rigsby began firing a weapon at the officer. Shreveport police say detectives were able to review text messages sent by Rigsby that implicated him in the murders and indicated that he was suicidal. Many individuals came forward and provided information that that was helpful in the investigation. Believe that Rigsby was responsible for the murders. SPD said in a statement, the detectives learned that in the days leading up to the murders, Rigsby purchased a new phone and attempted to buy at least one vehicle from an acquaintance. People close to him described his behavior as unusual. Detectives uncovered a disturbing history of domestic violence between the two. A few of those incidents have been reported to authorities and resulted in arrest, but most incidents had never been reported to authorities. and were sinister in nature. Now, I'm shocked because I never expected her to play this big of a role in this. I thought she was going to be uh kind of innocent. I didn't know she had a record like that. I'm actually surprised because even though he has taken his life, well, she's dead too. So the case is closed. I just thought about that. The case is closed. Thanks to Jay from Advocating for Children First. Hashtag if you date a thug, you date death. The lifespan on the normal thug is 24 to 25 years. If they make it past that, they're doing great. Now these are the last two stories that I have did that the men were clearly thug. They was rugged, thuggish bone. And it caused the women to become deceased. And in this case, he took out a whole family, which kind of reminds me of when Jennifer Hudson's mom, nephew, and brother were killed by her sister's husband. That's what it reminds me of. And now he tries to say he don't remember doing it. Well, you ain't got to remember doing it, but you're going to do that time you're doing. That's for sure. Are there any questions? Wow, I didn't realize I read for that long and didn't read it all. I left some for y'all because he probably had a death wish but was too coward. Well, yeah, too coward to take himself out. But yet he didn't want to leave his family behind. Nobody has her. I mean, and why kill her brother and her son? That's ridiculous. Let me make sure I showed you a picture of her brother. This was her 18-year-old brother. Right here. And his name was Joshua Perry. He was 18. And this is little Xavier, who was 12. And that is Adrian Rigsby, who is 29. And I don't need to show you Prude Face no more. We looked at him enough already. Do we have any questions? If not, we can close this video out until the next one. Thanks again to Larry for emailing this story to me. Nappy Child, can you put my email in the chat? If you ever hear a story that doesn't get a lot of attention or media time, those are the stories that I prefer to cover. I will cover ones that do, but still I prefer to cover those that don't. Because sometimes if you get caught up, if something happens when there's a big case going, your case may get slightly swept under the rug because media doesn't have time for it. And also, look how it ended. He took their lives and then took his own life. So there is no trial or anything that's going to happen behind the fact. And like I said in one article I read, that the lady that gave them the anonymous tip on who she thought had did it and where he made $1 billion, that article said that was his mom. And his mom felt like that because of some texts that she had received from him from the time that he actually did it to the time that he barricaded himself in and took his own life. Let me see. You may not, my email is a little long. I admit. Can you get in there? If not, I put it in the description box. Thank you to my mods. Thank you to all of my replay gang. Thank you to everyone that came in to listen. Also, right now, all proceeds goes to Nappy Child, and that's simply $, capital NAPPLY, capital CHILE, all one word. She's been on medical leave for some time now, and we all know, those of who have experienced it, when you're on medical leave for a long period of time, finances gets tough, especially when you're not even sure when you'll be able or if you'll be able to go back to work to do your job. So I would appreciate it. No monetary gift is too small. She's appreciative to whatever she gets. Again, that is $, capital N, small A, PPY, capital C, all one word, capital CHILE. And I thank you guys, and y'all have a blessed night.